Okay, today we have a 1200 watt, 12 volt pure sine wave inverter by MWXNE. So let's go ahead and get into this thing and see what it's all about. Taking a look at it, first thing, it's pretty clean looking. It has this display on the front here. We got our DC terminals, two fans on one side, and then two AC outlets. You got your on-off switch. Looks like we have a power light and a fault light. Two 18-volt USB ports, one 24 volts, and one USB-C. And then also we have a remote connector here. So let's go ahead and crack this thing open and see what the inside looks like. Holding it down was just two Phillips head screws on each side, so I've already taken those out. So let's just go ahead and pop this off. Upon first glance, you'll notice everything is extremely packed in here. We got our fans here. We got our 40 amp fuses on each side. This is probably going to be the wireless control for the remote, this guy right here. And then also, we got the display right here. So, yep, this is what it looks like on the inside. So let's go ahead and put this thing back together and get it hooked up. Alright guys, I'm about to hook up the battery to it. I pulled out the screws here. In case you're wondering or need to know, these are M6 screws. Alright guys, we got power hooked up to this thing, so let's go ahead and get it turned on. Let's take a look at this display here. It's extremely nice. I like the colors. And it's easy to read. Now that we have this thing powered on, there is one thing that I do want to test before we go any further. I want to see if this thing is a true pure sine wave inverter. We got the oscilloscope hooked up here, so let's just go ahead and turn this thing on and see. It does appear to be pure sine wave. We'll get some loads going on this thing and really see what it could do, and we'll also come back to this whenever we have a load on it to see, see how it looks then. Alright, I got this space heater hooked up here, so let's go ahead and get this thing going and see what goes on. Okay, so we actually, let's get it going on low. So let's see here. Looks like on low we're using about 750, 760 watts on this thing. And on the battery side, it looks like we're using about 875 watts, 870-ish. So let's go ahead and take this thing up to high. Okay, so, oh, there that went. So, oh well, actually, I don't think this thing shut off. It might have been the battery, because this thing shut off too. Okay, so it seems we did not exceed the threshold on the inverter. It seems that we have exceeded the 100 amp hour on the battery. So I went ahead and I hooked up the charger to it. That's probably providing another 45 amps maybe. So let's go ahead and get this thing plugged back in and turned on. Oh. Get this thing going again. So You hear the fans kicking on here. Okay. Starting to whine now, so let's go ahead and turn that off. So we exceeded it, not by much, for a short amount of time. With the heater on low, we're using about 750, 760 watts. Over here on the DC side, we're using about 850 on it. So with that, let's see here. We'll do 750. So currently, if my math is correct, which hopefully it is, that's about 88% efficiency on this inverter right now. So there is one thing I would like to check with this heater going. I would like to check with the kilowatt meter to make sure that this is actually accurate. So what we're going to do is we're going to hook it up to this kilowatt meter onto here with this heater on low and see if we're getting around what it says we're getting. Okay, we got the kilowatt meter hooked up now. So let's just go ahead and get this thing turned back on low and see what happens. So, okay, we're right back around the range where we were before. So let's see what this says. Yep, actually that's pretty spot on. So 749, so it's about 20 watts off, but you know, it's pretty good. So, okay, let's move on to the next thing. Okay, next, we're just going to do this normal fan down here. Go ahead and turn that on high. Just run that. It's hardly going to use anything. So it only shows about 100 watts. No, 110, 111 on the DC side. So, yeah. That means we should be able to have both of these plugged in together. Have the fan and the heater on low going. So, yeah, probably around like 850. Yeah. And almost about 1,000 on the DC side. So, alright. Now that we got a load going, let's go ahead and circle back to the oscilloscope and see what's going on with that. Alright. We got this all hooked up, so let's just go ahead and slip that bad boy right in there as far as we can. Okay, so now we're rocking that load just shy of 900. Just go ahead and turn this guy on here. And okay, well look at that. It's still how it was earlier, pure sine wave. So I'm going to go ahead and just let this run for probably about 30-45 minutes, and then we'll come back and kind of see how everything's going from there. Alright guys, we've let this run for a while now. Seems to be handling the load just fine. It's not too warm or anything. It's not really blowing out too hot on the back. The old field test to the terminal cables, they're not too hot or anything, so honestly I don't think there's any complaints against this. Let's take a look at these USB ports now. We're going to start off with this USB-C. Get this guy plugged in here. Check it out. Boom. Charging. Would you look at that? It actually does work. Let's go ahead and plug my camera back up. That's charging too. So now, let's go ahead and test this remote. It's actually pretty nifty. earlier though, when we had a load going on this and we tried to test it, it wasn't working. So let's put a load back on the unit itself through the AC. Oh, yep, works just fine. I'm not sure what the issue was earlier, but yeah, it seems to be turning on and off just fine now. Oh, that's why it wasn't turning off, is because this thing was actually on. So when you have the switch on, it won't turn off. But when you have the switch off, you can shut it off. So in order for the wireless remote to work, the switch has to be in the off position, pretty much. Okay, guys, so final thoughts on this. Other than the fact that it's only a 110, honestly, I can't complain. This is an extremely budget-friendly inverter. I honestly don't have any complaints. I've been messing around with this guy for about a month now. I've ran my computer off of it. I've ran all sorts of things off of it, to be honest. It is budget-friendly. You know, you can find this on Amazon for about $152.99 plus shipping. So they have all kinds, anywhere from 1200 all the way up to a 5000 watt. They have 12, 24, and 48 volt ones as well. So I'll go ahead and link this in the bio below. But yeah, honestly, I think that's going to do it, guys, for this video. If you have any questions or comments or anything, or there's something you want to see, go ahead and add it to the comments below. But until next time.